So I just want to start off by saying thank you everybody who's been subscribing over the last few months. And if you're not, please do. It helps me continue having motivation to make these videos that I think is pretty good content and lets me know my channel is going in the right directions. But I'm getting ready to head out to Ohio today. The last couple weeks, my cameras have been going off pretty good with shooter bucks every day. A lot of it has been right at either daybreak or at sunset, and some of it's been during the daylight. So these bucks are definitely on their feet during the day. Our weather forecast is looking pretty good. I think we're at the time of year where the weather doesn't matter quite as much, but it definitely will help movement in daylight when weather is cooler, high pressure. And this weekend, it looks like that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have like mid-30s in the morning and then get up to about 60s in the afternoon, and then the last hour is going to be low 50s. So the main bucks that I'm after are the flat top buck and browser, and the last 2 weeks they have been so predictable in the same area, coming out right at daybreak, or when it's barely dark out, they're making their moves. But as of the last week or so, it seems like they're starting to venture out of their home range, and essentially they're making this giant 3,000 to 4,000 yard loop around our property. Luckily, they're not really leaving the property that I know of. They seem to be staying pretty tight to the property that we're hunting, but they are definitely starting to get a little less predictable and starting to get a little dumb during the daylight. We had this morning, the browser buck was, for the last month or so, was on the west side of the property. He summered on the east side of the property, but now this morning I got my first picture of him in the daylight on the east side of the property, and I haven't gotten a picture there in almost 2 months. So he's definitely searching for does, but luckily he's staying on our property. The flat top buck, he is starting to make kind of the same route that browser's making. He's starting to make this giant circle, checking all these ridges, using the wind to check the ridges for does. And unfortunately, a buck that we call Blade, he was probably going to be on my shooter list this year. He's 4.5, I would guess, and he's probably a mid 140s buck, has a nice split brow tine, high and wide rack. Unfortunately, he already broke his whole right side off, which is, not necessarily a bad thing, because it almost guarantees him another year. That doesn't, protect him from any kind of disease over the winter or whatever. But I think the people that hunt our area, they're going to let him slide if he's a half rack buck. He definitely still looks good, though. He fools me sometimes when I get a picture of him from the side. He still looks pretty good, but, face on, his whole... I guess it would be his right side is broke off. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully we're gonna have some more bucks showing up. We have had some bucks show up. None of them are really shooters, but they're borderline. So hopefully some of these other guys will get an opportunity at them, and I think we're gonna have a good weekend. All right, so I got everything set up for the most part. Still don't have the key until my brother and Justin get here. So for now I have to step up over, but everything's set up, looking good. Got the canopy up this time. It was raining a little bit. So I'm just gonna watch some football and drink some beer. All right, so I just got done setting up camp, and I was looking at my trail cam pictures, and look who showed up tonight right at 6:30, right by one of my stands. That's old browser right there, looking good, rutted up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's where I'm going to be hunting in the morning. Sweet November is here. I'm in a spot that we call Oil Hill, which is predominantly Flat Top's home range. Browser also makes frequent visits here. My buddy Justin is hunting about 200 yards to the left of me. And we're kind of hunting both sides of this saddle. I've already seen 3 deer this morning, right at first light. It wasn't even legal shooting light yet. The wind is good for this spot for where we think flat top beds. But anything behind me is going to get my wind. So I'm hoping they run the peak of this ridge. And I have to shoot them before they get behind me. Also, anything below me here is great wind, so hopefully we start to see some rut action this morning. It's that time. 10 o'clock. Snack break. Alright, it's a little after 10. Woods are dead. It's a little windy out. I don't know. Sometimes they don't move as much when it's super windy. I think it lowers their hearing senses, so I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna move this stand back like, I don't know, 60 yards and at the peak of this ridge. Because right now, I don't know if you can tell, but basically any deer that comes behind me right there is like eye level with me, so that ain't gonna work if those bucks are cruising that ridge, which I think they do. So I'm gonna put that stand right on the peak of the ridge so you can see down both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and maybe I'll hunt it this evening. Okay, I'm hunting probably 80 yards from where I was this morning. I saw deer, but not a whole lot of rut activity, to be honest. A couple of scrub bucks pushing a doe. But, you know, about 10:30, I decided to get down. And I wanted to move the tree stand I was at this morning. And I wanted to move it to the peak of this, I guess you could almost call it a saddle. There's a bunch of ridges that comes together. I guess a knob would be a better term. So I'm trying to get the top of this knob before I was like on the low side. And I just felt like if a deer walked the top of the knob, they're going to be eye level with me with not many leaves left on the trees. I was kind of just a sitting target. And they do walk this knob. So I took the stand down and I moved it over about 40 yards and back towards like the truck about 80 yards. And I found this scrape, this huge scrape right here. There's actually two right next to each other and they're big, like fresh, like hit last night. And I just got done hanging the stand and I was actually sitting up here. My buddy Justin was staying at the base of the tree, and this 10-point, he was young. He was probably 3.5. I've never seen this buck before, but he ran straight to the base of this tree to the scrape, and he didn't realize we were there until I made a noise up here and he looked. So he didn't really seem too bothered. He was on a mission. I think he had dozed to chase because he came jogging up this hill, panting. He didn't spook too bad. I got a little video of him and you could barely tell what he is, but he was, he's outside of his ears. He was, probably had, 8-inch G2s. Looked like he had some kind of split brow. I don't think I would shoot him. He looked to be like a younger buck. I've never seen that buck, I don't think. So hopefully we didn't bugger this space up too bad. I don't think so. Justin is hunting the same area as me. He's a little further from me than he was this morning. This morning he was only about 100 yards from me. Now he's actually hanging a set instead of using a climber. He's probably 150, 185 yards from me.